The Kansas City Chiefs got the biggest win of this young season when they beat the Baltimore Ravens. We're going to take a look at it by the numbers. Welcome back to RGR Football. I'm Ryan. This is me going rogue with the help of some of my buddies to give you the inside look at the Kansas City Chiefs in the NFL. We go through all kinds of things around the league, but particularly coming out of Kansas City, the Super Bowl champions. And we like to focus on them. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the like and the sub and the bell notification because we do things all the time around here. We have content for you all week long from a number of different aspects. And today, we're going to take a look at some of the stats inside the numbers that really create the scope of the game and show you what goes on that maybe isn't apparent on the broadcast, but makes a big difference when it comes down to playing the games. Let's get started with probably the easiest one to get used to, and that is how an offense moves the ball. When it comes down to it, the average yards per play is a good metric because it takes into account whether you're a team that runs the ball a lot or whether you're a team that throws the ball a lot. The Kansas City Chiefs took a big step forward in gaining up to 7.1 yards per play against the Ravens. They really took that step above where they had been against the Los Angeles Chargers. 1.2 yards in a single week is a pretty good jump, but it also shows you there was a little bit of playing possum back there when they were playing the Los Angeles Chargers, keeping it vanilla. A lot of interesting play calls, a couple of broken coverages by the Ravens led to some big plays that helped bump that number up, but that also what's got them out to a lead and allowed them to keep it. Next, we look at what I think is the most telling metric about the efficiency of an offense. And it's something that I track all the time for the Chiefs, particularly in the Mahomes era, although I started a little bit with Alex Smith as well. And this is really unchanged. 0% change, 50% on the day, 5 out of 10 drives, just like they were against the Los Angeles Chargers. The difference is the plays were more explosive, and they got the points that they needed in an easier fashion than probably they could have expected. Well, maybe they expected it, but the rest of the world didn't. Ask all the hosts over at ESPN, and they'll tell you exactly how that was. Now, beyond that, one of the key things that we've seen from this particular year is how much the rookies are playing, and they took a step back here. The injury to L'Jarius Sneed, a guy that I did a big film review on last week. Go check that out. I'll make sure that it's linked here either in the show notes or up at the top of the screen. He got hurt and went out and didn't put in his normal amount of snaps, one that had been growing. He had been playing quite a bit. Had some changes in the personnel with Mike Pennell coming back as well, which limited Tershawn Wharton's snaps a little bit. And so on the day, they actually fell off with 95 less snaps contributed by the rookie class in week 3 than they had in week 2. But at the end of the day, if your rookies aren't playing, that means somebody with more experience is. And so that is a plus. I think that's partially, especially against the run, something that helped this team in Baltimore. The stat on the defense that is not only my favorite, but one that I constantly track in a number of different ways. This is just one. And this is the overall pressure rate. How many pressures they got versus how many times the quarterback dropped back. This is a constant metric that I compare week to week to week. And that's why the most important aspect of it is that they got just a 1% bump, meaning that they did slightly better against Lamar Jackson than they did against Justin Herbert. That is significant because it's difficult to get true pressures on Lamar Jackson because his ability to escape the pocket. That doesn't necessarily lead to a sincere pressure, but it sometimes gets masked. They played pretty well. They were able to come down and get pressure, most importantly, when it counted the most. That helped them in their overall game performance. Another aspect that is really important for this team defense is the number of tackles that they actually miss. We saw it be pretty sloppy in weeks 1 and 2, and it was a bit concerning. There was a slight improvement from week 1 to week 2, but still way too much going on. And part of that can be wrapped up to playing the Los Angeles Chargers, a team that plays you very tough, that wants to power through you because of the rivalry. And part of it could have been, honestly, that they looked a little bit past those Chargers and to these Ravens. And what that ended up coming down to is a drastic reduction in the rate in which they missed tackles against some runners that have been making a lot of yardage. They held the Ravens to a very low output on the ground. They held Lamar Jackson to a very low output in the air. And overall, they made tackles when they needed to. They still had 7 misses. You'd like to see that at 5 or less would be the goal. But Dan Sorensen in particular cleaned up a lot of his sloppy play. Juan Thornhill, although he was just a touch late on the touchdown, he was better in the tackling area, and that really improves the overall defense when 2 of your safeties are a little bit more sure in the tackling. That is what led to the improvement. The linebackers contributed to that as well, and something that really needed to happen quite forcefully. And the biggest thing, and this is what it all comes down to, you can call it magic, you can call it just Mahomes being Mahomes, whatever you want to call it. It comes down to him being nearly radioactive, and that's what that symbol is there for. This graph shows you his quarterback rating while he was blitzed. This is dramatically better than when he was not blitzed. And the fact that the Baltimore Ravens elected to continue to send blitz after blitz against him was really counterproductive for their cause, and it played into Patrick's hands. He produced 250 yards and 3 touchdowns when he was blitzed. And that is something that I think other teams have begun to learn their lessons about. Placing the emphasis on the blitz up front is not paying off for teams against Patrick Mahomes. And this particular line as well, who had Mike Remmers in, replacing Andrew Wiley, who went out with a very late scratch with some stomach ailments. At the end of the day, putting pressure on Mahomes releases his playmaking ability, to tell you the truth. I think what you're going to see is teams will begin to learn their lessons from this. That will change going forward. You're going to see more of the coverage-based concepts that have been plaguing and slowing down some of this offense, much like the cover 3 that you saw from the Los Angeles Chargers. There's a lot more to come about what different metrics will tell you, but these are the keys this week. And this particular one, the rating when blitz, is something that I'll be tracking throughout the season. We're going to revisit that and see if teams get smarter when trying to stop Pat Mahomes. It's a super tall order, but we're going to be here for it. I hope you are too. Hit the like, the sub, and that bell notification so you know when something new comes out. We have film reviews coming for you. We have the game plan video where we lay out how they can get the job done each week. They're eerily candid to what actually happened, so please check those out. Appreciate all of your time and you guys checking this out, especially for those of you that are new to the channel. We have a lot going on, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the season. Thank you for watching today, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more, and subscribe to RGR Football.